Okay, so I think I'll get started now. If you are joining us, you can introduce in the comment box so we can meet you. Oh, Mr. Afyong from Lagos. Thank you for joining us. So we'll be kickstarting now. So here are some housekeeping rules to ensure that we have a smooth session and lesser interruption. So if you are not speaking, ensure your mic is muted. Ensure you can still hear the fire alarm with your handset. If you want to speak, maybe ask questions or you have some concerns, you can raise your hand. There is a raise hand feature in Zoom, so you can use that to raise your hand and will unmute you and allow you to speak during the Q&A session. Also, use the chat button to comment, to ask your questions, to do anything if speaking won't be as fast. Also, if you are joining from home, anywhere, try and maintain a good sitting posture and ensure you're properly attentive and listening to this session because it's about to be an enlightening one and a really, really powerful and packed one. So in all, stay safe and enjoy today's session with us. So we'll be having an opening remarks by the section chairperson and person of Mrs. Obianuju Ibukwe. So she'll be giving us an opening remark. Hi, Mrs. Hi, Madam Ju. Is she on the call? Let me check, confirm she's on the call. Okay, so in absence of Madam Uju, I'll be calling on the YP co-chair to give us the opening remark. Hi, Madam Obianuju. Can you give us the opening remark instead? Oh, she said she's unable to unmute. Let me try to unmute her if I can from me. Or Mr. Odion, can you unmute her?
Yes, yes. So I've
All right.
done that. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay. Can you hear me?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you so much, Baida. And special thanks to our speaker, Mr. Olusheye. I mean, a man of this capacity. He has availed himself to speak to us. I would encourage all YPs to open their ears attentively because this is a rare opportunity. You have someone that has come to speak with you, and it's not just on a technical level, but just to share with you his story and how he got to where he is today, the steps he took, and his experiences and lessons. So I think this is a very rare opportunity. This is special. This his story, this energy story series is special because we want to bring a closer perspective to you as to how the energy industry affects our lives, how our careers are being shaped by our daily experiences, our roles, and the different choices we have to make each day that brings us that brings us closer to our goals. And we're brought forth this series so that we can help you hear from people that have done that, people that have achieved all this, and hear how they got to where they are, hear their growths, their lessons, the choices they made. So for me, I'm very honored to have Mr. Olusheye Ogushino with us. And I believe that we are all looking forward to the insights that he has to share with us today. And like I said, it's not just about where he is now, but how he got to where he is. And I believe that the conversation that we would have today would remind everyone that Rome was not built in a day. I think that's a basic message that, you know, I think I would be looking forward to hearing today, to have the confidence and the realization that Rome was not built in a day, that he did not get to where he was in a day, and it was built on one decision at a time. And there's always something to learn from every story, and I believe that this story is going to be unique. So I employ all of you to listen. We've curated a group of a list of questions, and I believe that these are questions that you may be itching to ask him if you met him one on one. And we've curated these questions for him. So this is the time for you to sit back, relax, and listen and learn as much as you can. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Mr. Olusheye, for honoring our invitation. All right, over to you, Bida. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Uju, for that wonderful opening remark. So she has literally like done justice to welcome us all today. So now I'll be introducing our speaker so we can fully move to why we are here today and also learn from Mr. Ogusheye's story. So our speaker here today is Mr. Olusheye Ogunshina. He is currently a non-operated ventures manager at First EMP. So Mr. Olusheye Ogunshina is a 1994/1995 graduate of the prestigious Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, which is the greatest Ife. I don't know if their alumni or students are here. So we have your alumni from the Great Ife. He also has a master's degree with distinction in petroleum engineering from the University of Oklahoma in the United States. So he had a distinguished career working for Shell for over 22 years on many world-class projects across various operating units of Shell in Nigeria, in the United States, in Brunei. He's also a subject matter expert on sound control and was a key contributor to the first horizontal water injector in deep water in Shell. Mr. Ogushina currently works for the First Exploration and Petroleum Development Company as a non-operated ventures manager, overseeing portfolio including the Andy Western, Renaissance Company, and West African Exploration and Production Company, which is the WIPE. So Mr. Ogushina enjoys volunteering as he currently serves on the board of the Society of Petroleum Engineers Lagos section as the industry collaboration chairman. He's a family man, happily married, blessed with children, and is also an avid golfer. Hi, Mr. Olusegun Ogushina, and welcome, and thank you so much for joining us today. This is such a wonderful profile, and I'm so excited to learn from you. And I believe everyone else here is excited to learn from your story and pick one or two insights that will be useful for them to in their career progression growth. Hi, Mr. Ogushina. My name is Zubaida once again, and I'll be the moderator and your host for today. I don't know if you are unmuted.
Yes, I can hear you. Good morning, Ubeda. Can you all hear me?
Hi,
Can you hear me?
I hear you, sir. So I believe
Okay,
others.
fantastic. Good morning once again, everyone. Thanks for that wonderful introduction, Ubeda. And thank you, Uju, for inviting me. It's a privilege to share my story with fellow colleagues in the industry. Maybe some are younger, and maybe there are few nuggets we can learn and make use of to help us in our career and hopefully get us to the top where we can make impact, where we can contribute more to the energy industry in Nigeria and to the world at large. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you so much, Mr. Olusheye. So you have like a wonderful profile. You have like a career progression from into the industry, spending 20 now and now into I don't know if you can like share to us what the early stage of your career had looked like, how you navigated that journey from those beginnings to now the leadership position you currently hold today. How were the early stage? How was it like, especially for young people like us that are still coming up and are still like finding our paths in the energy industry?
Yeah, thank you once again, Ubeda. Very interesting start to my career. So I'll cast back to when I graduated in 94, 95. I was posted to Kaduna Center for Automotive Design and Development. So that's car manufacturing. Believe it or not, Nigeria had a car manufacturing or design outfits back then. That was at the Ahmadu Bello University. That's where I was posted. Served for 1 year, and I was retained, but I refused to stay, basically because my love and passion was for the oil and gas industry, as it was said. I mean, as it was called then. I know now we prefer to use the term energy. Left Kaduna after service year, after 1 year of great service to the nation and learning new tools, learning um, to work with people in the industry. Came to Port Harcourt to job hunt, basically. My first job was actually in the downstream sector. I was working for an inspection services company. We're doing non-destructive testing for pipelines, tanks, and all that, until Shell came calling. And I was fortunate to be the first batch of what was called the SITP back then, the Shell Intensive Training Program. So I was batch 1. We were the guinea pigs. Thankfully, we learned a lot. We endured. They taught us resilience. It was challenging, doing several lectures and tests every weekend. But when we got into the industry proper and started working, I think we were well prepared. I was deployed to the pipelines department, I think basically because of my short experience in the downstream, where I worked a bit with pipelines, and probably also because of my undergraduate degree. But I think the first lesson there was, yes, that was where they posted me, but I did not necessarily stay there. I knew what I wanted. I learned what I needed to learn as a pipeline engineer. I did some design, did some project management, learned to use some software, pipeline design software. But my passion was more in the subsurface area, and that's when I chose to do a master's degree in petroleum engineering at the University of Oklahoma. So I took my career basically in my hands. I mean, I chose to go after what I really wanted to do. I think the major reason back then I did that was because I felt as a pipeline engineer in Shell, I was doing more of contractor management. And I felt I needed to get my hands dirty behind the computer, doing some modeling work. And that's why I chose to go back to school, master's. I took study leave actually to go do petroleum engineering at the University of Oklahoma in the United States. And of course, after my stint in petroleum engineering, I came back to Nigeria. I was in SNEPCO, Deepwater. I was sent offshore. I was a well site PE, learning to complete wells, learning to design wells. So I spent time as a night DSV actually. So I have a bit of well engineering skills as well. I mean, for people that are in Shell, I did that round 1 well engineering and got qualified. But at that point in time, well engineering also wanted to keep me there. But I said I needed to be in the office. And so I went back to the office and did more of production technology type of work for a while. And then I started to rise basically in the company. I know there's still so many other questions you're going to have where some of the lessons I've learned over time will come forth. So let me keep it that way. That was my beginning and my journey to leadership within Shell in Nigeria, outside of Nigeria and before I pivoted to first EMP. Thank you.
So much for wonderful response. That was like a really that was a journey. Like, is the way you summarize more than 20 years journey into few sentences. I know like it's way more than that, it's way deeper. And one thing I could get from your career progression, right from being in the graduate to being posted by NYS to Kaduna to after, even though they wanted to at every point you mentioned that you knew what you wanted and you let go of opportunities that were not in line with what you want. So I think that is very important for young people like me or people still finding their path in the industry. At every point in your journey, ensure that you are being self-aware of the outcome to be where you what kind of opportunities you want, and this can lead you to be able to chase the right thing for you. So from what I've gotten from your chat to, to ask you that, how did you identify the career opportunities that are worth pursuing and which ones to let go? Because as you still struggle with, oh, is this what I want to do? Is this what I want to do? Is what pursue and all of that? And you find yourself in some dilemma on what path to go with. So how are you able to identify the career opportunities that's pursuing and the ones that you feel like, oh no, you don't want this and you just have to let them go?
Thanks for that question once again. Very, very interesting. So for me, at every point in time, I always think long term rather than short term. Of course, there are times where you think short term, as long as it doesn't have a negative long term impact on what you really want. But I think first and foremost is to be guided by one's identity. You have to know yourself and be comfortable in who you are, in your own skin. For me, I knew I was strongly analytical. Both of my parents, um, you could consider them as very analytical people. My mom, especially, you want to garner some wisdom, you go stand with her and conversation. Um, it's fiber I was family was central to that. I remember when I got to Port Harcourt, before I started working in the downstream, I had an opportunity. Well, what I say is that some opportunities came up to work offshore, to work in the field. Um, of course, as a new graduate, you can't post too much. You know you're sometimes you're focused on let me just pay the bills first, you know. But then what I always told myself is I'd rather be like these shell people that are working in the office than spend enormous time offshore. Of course, I didn't know much then. The only shell people I saw were the shell people around me that were in the office. I didn't also recognize that there were shell people that were spending time offshore. But the good thing was, even though they spent time offshore, it was a bit more regular, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. Unlike some of my colleagues that were working for the likes of Schlumberger and the rest, and they could be gone for 6 weeks, 7 weeks. You know, so some of those things I felt, I don't think this is for me. I don't like to be away for that long from my family. Whenever I chose to settle down and have a family. So I'm guided by my identity, guided by the type of work that energizes me, um, um, environments where I know I can thrive, where I know I can hit the ground running and be impactful. Those are the things that guided my choice of what I wanted to do and the problems that I would also like to solve. Those guided kinds of career opportunities that I pursued. So, but like I said, as a young person, sometimes we don't have that luxury. But if you're fortunate to have that luxury of choices, of course, I think one should be guided by your identity, the kinds of problem you want to solve, um, the kind of leader you want to become. All those things culminate, at least for me, culminated in the choices I made at the start of my career and throughout my career, actually. Um, After I got to Shell, making that decision to go for my master's, making that decision when I came back that I wanted to be in deep water, making that decision um, when the opportunity for cross-posting came, actually, I was one of the few people that resisted. Nobody could understand why would you be resisting going on cross-posting. But I got the offer in February. I did not go on posting until November of that year. And why was that? It was just because I was thinking, my wife, she's also a career person. How do we balance this? How do we make sure that she doesn't lose out? So it's those are the things that guided and will continue to guide the choices I make. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Olute. And from the discussion, you could hear things that guided him were his identity, the kind of work he wanted to do. Also, core values like what are the most important things to do? Is it family? Can you stand staying away from your family for months? So those are the things you look into as a young person. For a young person still coming up, you probably don't have like a family now. So other factors you mentioned was your identity, the environment you want to the environment you want to work, and also the kind of work that you're trying to achieve, the kind of work you're trying to like contribute to. So those are some things too that you can consider to guide your career opportunities. So Mr. Shea, given like your profile from your progression to every stage that you've gotten to at this point, do you have mentors at any point in your career? And if you had mentors, maybe people guiding you through every stage, what impact did they make on you in building your career to this point?
Thanks for that. First of all, I forgot to wish the men in the house happy International Men's Day. I think it was last week, 16th, and this event actually is organized in recognition of the International Men's Day. So happy International Men's Day to all the men. Apologies, I should have congratulated us earlier.
Yes,
Speaking to
happy.
the question, mentors, we can't do without mentors. Mentors have made a major difference for me in my career. I mean, the current job I currently hold, it's because of mentorship that I was able to join First MP in the first place. It's because of mentorship that I've been able to change jobs even within first year MP as well. Several people to acknowledge for being great mentors. And when we say mentors, I must point out, I was having a conversation, I think it was with LSE sometimes back, and we talked about the fact that sometimes our peers are our mentors as well. I remember when we were job hunting, you had to make sure you stayed close to your friends to tell you where the jobs are, who's taking the applications. You stayed close to your friends. Some friends, they guided you to the kinds of questions they will ask. Some people had attended several interviews that they had several questions for different companies, and they knew the kind of questions that those people will pose. So and at your workplace as well. Um, as long as you have mentors, people that are ahead of you, and of course, you speak to them from time to time to take guidance. But we also must ensure that we have peer mentors that we connect with from time to time. Oftentimes, because of the way some work cultures are, we view our colleagues sometimes as our competitors, but that ought not to be so. They are not necessarily your competitors. Some of them you can use as mentors. You stay close to them because they just know what is happening within the company. They have the information to guide you. They have the information to help you, and which you can factor in when you're making some of the choices that you would make. For me, if I cast my mind back, like I said earlier, at every major turning in my life, it's been impacted by mentors. I have challenges. I go have a sit down, have a chat um, with my mentor. Um, Even if I don't have challenges, I just make it a regular um, opportunity, to make sure I have a sit down and have a conversation. I may not have anything particular in mind, but we always get some nuggets of wisdom, from your mentor. So I think mentors are very, very important. Um, Let me keep it that way, because I know we probably have more questions where we can share more on this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sheye. And from what I've learned is that mentors are very, very important. And also, most of the time, the mentors you're looking for are your friends, your peers, your colleagues, because everyone is not an island of knowledge, and you always have to learn from others too. And you can also learn from the people you work with, the friends in your circle, and they can also be the guide that you need to progress in your career. So I'll be moving on to my next question, and I'll be asking about your early stage. And if you look back now, is there anything you wished you had learned earlier that would have been more better and beneficial for your career journey, especially for young people like us? Like, is there anything you could look back and advise us that, oh, if you had learned this earlier, it would have been more better, or it would have made your path easier going back?
Yeah, thank you, Beda. Um, Look back. Especially you could fail, but you would also have learned through it. And if you don't fail, you succeed. That's progress. So I would say courage. So I think that's the word. If you look back, I think I could have been more courageous and do things quicker without delay. I mean, so if I look back, every significant turning that I've made in my career that has made impact for me, it's about having courage. I mean, leaving my shell job, of course, it was study leave, to go back to school. That took courage. Yes, I could have done it earlier. I delayed a bit, but looking back, I should have done it quicker. Um, Going on international posting, that one wasn't because I was afraid. It was more because of family considerations. Um, Looking also at leaving Shell, I think took courage as well. I mean, living on environment, IOC, and choosing to go into um, a local independent company. But what was important at that point, I think the fact that I had got on international posting, that gave me courage to know that I think on top of my game, I I can, if I could survive on posting outside of this country, I knew I could survive anywhere. So that gave me courage, and I was looking also forward to working with certain people that I had heard of in the industry, and I felt I could make better impact for the country, going to work for an indigenous company that had vision and sights. And I think I've been proven right. Looking back, and all I tell myself is maybe I should have done this earlier. So if I say I look back, I think one key thing is courage. Fail forward. But maybe other things, prioritization. Know what is important and focus on them, and don't get distracted. Don't say yes to everything. Don't fall for the temptation of saying yes to everything. Ask yourself, why does this matter? What's this going to impact? Those are the things you prioritize and focus on. I hope that helps someone. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that wonderful response. And everyone here, I know we have the time where we're always scared. Should we make decisions? Should we make that? So it's very important for us, as Mr. Shaya shared today, to be courageous, to go for that opportunity, to fail forward, especially as young people that we still have like a lot of energy, and we should actually try to leave our comfort zone time to time and push for things. So, Mr. Shea, so my next question would be, you've mentioned you're a family person, and that's been one of the main things guiding your choices, especially in your career journey. So I wanted to ask, this career is demanding, and from your profile, you've traveled to Brunei, you've traveled to other places to work and make impact. So how do you balance work and personal life? How have you been able to manage it with such a demanding career?
I think, thanks, Albeda. Intentionality, and that's the word that I'll use there. Being intentional about everything you want to do, having the long-term insight, not just short-term. Recognizing that your career is important, family is even more important. So if you're thinking long, one day you would have to put a stop to the career, and will be remaining for you will be your family, be your own health, will be your own your body, your mental health, your physical health. Because sometimes we sacrifice all that on the altar of career, but it's nice that then done, you still have to live. You have to exit this for others, to take the banners or the from you, to take the journey further, to take it to the next level. And we must always recognize that, and so we have to be intentional about the choices we make on a daily basis, recognizing that one day you must exit and for others, and so invest in others. Let them. If you leave a job, let it become better, make it easier for the next person coming after you, to continue that job. Also, in terms of your family, remember to invest in your family as well. Spend time with them. Spend time with the spouse. Spend time with your kids. People you're going to do when you finally retire. So, I'll keep it. Maybe I mixed the question. The question was on family, right?
Is on work-life balance. That is balancing
Work-life balance.
life, a demanding career.
Yes.
Yeah. I think you've answered the question. So you've said we should be very intentional about our choices. We should learn to invest in others. We should look along our current choices. So my next question will be, this industry that we're in is evolving, is changing. In your time, in your early career stage at Shell, It's not how it is currently done now. Now every day we are hearing buzzwords in AI, digital twin, and so many others. So how are you able to like invest in self and also stay relevant in such a dynamic and evolving energy landscape? How are you able to upskill and stay relevant so that you do not become stale or dead again in your
Yeah, thanks once again, brother. So I heard a saying recently. It said the illiterate younger someone, the illiterate is actually someone who cannot unlearn, learn, and relearn. Uh, Let me say it again because it was so profound for me. He hit home. The illiterate is not someone who cannot read and write. That's the illiterate in the 21st century. It's not someone who cannot read and write, but someone who cannot unlearn, learn, and relearn again. So I mean, straight to your question, you're absolutely right. Over these few decades of industry, but you're worried for your children, for the younger generation that, guys, how are you going to cope? You're competing not just with human beings, you're competing with machines that can easily do your work. But I think what is important, like that statement says, you must be ready to unlearn the things that you thought you knew, that are no longer that were correct 20 years ago, but no longer so today. You need to learn new things, and you need to be open to continue to relearn. That's the only way you will stay relevant. Um, Technology has to become our way of life, really. It's it has come to help us to be better people, to achieve things quicker, faster, and have more precision. But in terms of decision making, I think decision making will still rest with humans. Machines, technology can make recommendations for you, can open you up to the various options that you have. But at the end of the day, I think where we need to pay attention to is the decision making part. You will still need to, as a human, you will still need to play a big role in that, which then means you also need to be knowledgeable. You need to know when you use some of these tools. You need to be able to decipher and know what is relevant, know what is not necessarily relevant, and being able to make that call at the end of the day on what is proper for you. You can imagine of recent, I was trying to make a call on a certain portfolio that I don't have. I don't have all the information, but I have basic information. And I went on ChatGPT. I used another tool, and I asked it to uh, give me a full development plan. I gave simple data, on what I need to do, and boom, 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 boom. It gave me several options of what to do, how many wells, the kind of wells, what kind of, of course, you have to feed it some other data on what kind of um, um, reservoirs you have and all that. But I'm just showing the possibility of what can be done quicker. Back in the days in Shell, if you're developing an FDP, it'll probably take 10-man team, and it'll probably take them minimum of 6 months to 1 year to deliver that FDP, right? because you're doing a lot. But you can imagine what you can do with a tool, one person. I'm not saying that you should go and make your decision and start drilling well based on the output from that um, tool that gave an MDP. However, you can see where the future is going. That the work that was being done by 10 people can be done by one person, and very quickly as well, within a few hours. You would need to interrogate further to make sure that you're making the best plans. But I think what is important at the end of the day is we must dedicate ourselves to a life of learning and unlearning and relearning and learning again and again. That's the only way we're going to stay relevant. That's the only way we're going to be able to continue to make impact in the current uh, have in the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shea. So it's very important that we commit ourselves to lifelong learning. As long as we are still here, alive and breathing, there's always more to learn, always new knowledge, and we need to be able to unlearn, relearn, and also learn continuously. So my next question will be, can you share some of the biggest challenges that you faced during your career, whether in the early stage or in the mid stage, and how were you able to overcome them?
Yeah, yeah. So many challenges, but I think the first thing is to have the right perspective. That without challenges, we're not able to get to the next level. We should see challenges as a stepping stone to where we want to be. I think early in my career, and as it will be for many of us, is we have to learn how to operate um, um, leader of teams. You're an individual contributor, but you want to influence outcomes. You want to influence decisions being made. Um, uh, but unfortunately for you, you don't have authority. You're not the final decision maker. Um, in that situation, I think what helped me was um, I think you have to know your stuff. We have to be deep technically, because I think oftentimes some of us are too eager to push ourselves to that leadership position, which is very good. At least let there be substance. Like the Texans say, don't be all hearts, no cattle. There are people that they pretend to be cowboys. They have the hat on, but you're asking, where is your cattle? No cattle. So I think, yes, influence, we don't have the authority. However, we must know our stuff. We must know what we're talking about. Let's deepen ourselves. And even more important, when you know your stuff, is knowing how to communicate it in a way that is acceptable. You know, um, sometimes we fall into that trap, and we have read things, but it doesn't necessarily mean just because you have read it or you have expressed it once, it doesn't mean that's the way everything is. I said there are 4 levels of that's you know the, yeah, you know about it maybe because you've done it was as you change way, and there are ways to do stuff in that team. When you work for the leaders as well, there are different personalities. So you have to and you have to assume the person will not change. You have to continue to reinvent yourself, to stay relevant, to make impact in the best possible way you can. I think I'll limit it to those two things that I think I've faced early and mid-career in the energy industry. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shea. And I've been writing, and what I could get from there'll always be challenges. So it's very important to be able to be courageous enough, be open, and also humble enough to take feedbacks and iterate. You also mentioned some 5 things that help people in terms of solving problems, and which is the awareness, knowledge, skills, and the mastery. So let's us take note of these things down and also utilize them in our own career also. So my next question will be about your leadership. You're a leader both in first year and P and also the volunteer in the SPE Lagos section. So as someone that is now in position of leadership and influence, what practices have helped you manage and influence large portfolios or teams effectively? What have you been able to as a leader that has helped you in managing people or the projects you work on effectively?
That's a deep question. And for me, I've worked as a leader of small teams, mid-sized teams. I wouldn't say I've worked as a leader of big teams. And in fact, currently, my job, I only have one person in my team. It's more of portfolio management and overseeing what other companies are doing. So not necessarily what we are doing in first year and P. So like my role says, non-operated ventures. We're not the operators. And so all that we're focused on is majorly governance at board levels, but of course, technically, because we believe we pride ourselves in our technical excellence and commercial excellence, want to influence ventures where we don't operate, want to influence them to take some of the practices that we do. But maybe I'll borrow from my MD, who's so if I look at the way he has been able to manage first year and P, I think simple things. I think first one is regular weekly meetings. Cadence, making sure you are in touch with people, because for a big organization, it's easy to have misalignments. And what you want to have is keep things simple. You want to make sure everybody is aligned. And I think the only way you can ensure that is to have regular meetings with everybody. So in my workplace, we have what we call the operations meeting that happens every Monday. Apologies. 1 second, somebody's calling my phone. I need to disconnect from my earpiece. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, apologies for that. My phone was ringing and I didn't realize it was connected to my earpiece, so it was ringing in the earpiece. Yeah. So like I was saying, regular engagement, cadence meeting to ensure everybody is aligned. I think one other key thing is communications plan. Having that North Star of where the company is going to, not just in the short term, but in the long term, because I think that is what galvanizes everybody. That is what keeps us energized. That our leadership is able to dream big. It keeps everyone excited that I want to be a part of this journey. I want to be I want to make a difference, not just for myself. I want to make a difference for Nigeria. And so you would always be excited when you have a leader that can paint a big picture where the company is going and can get everybody aligned as well. What is the need for you? What's how important this vision is? What it will do to Nigeria as well. So you're always anchoring it in something that is bigger than you. I think as a leader of large teams, these are essential, regular cadence to make sure everybody is aligned and you know what people are doing. And wherever there is a misalignment, you're able to resolve it quickly. And when I say regular, it's not just quarterly, but on a weekly basis. Of course, there is opportunity for quarterly and annually, but on a regular basis, you are aligned with people. And the second thing is communications, having that North Star for the company and making sure it's clear to everybody. You communicate in clear terms. You're able to, right now in my company, everybody, we have a vision 2030. If you ask any regular staff of First EMP, apologies to other companies, I'm not trying to blow the trumpet, but if you ask anyone, they know about our quest. They know about what the company is about, what we want to achieve in the medium term. I think that's very, very important in any large organization that you are able to deliver. In my past jobs as a WRFM lead, I had 7 people reporting to me. These practices are similar. When I was a FEDEM in Brunei as well, equally with direct reports of like 6 people, but of course those reports also had other people reporting to them. I would argue it's similar. It's making sure the team is aligned, making sure you care about people, you care about their families, uh, you, you, you visit with them when they, whether they are bereaved or they are rejoicing. Keep it simple, the simple things. Don't wait till you need people before you engage with them. Engage with them even before you need them. Have a relationship. You'll find it very useful when you have a need. They're going to step in for you. They're going to, support your vision, support your dream, and they're ready to, if you say jump, they're asking you, how should I jump? I think those things are very, very important. And a look out for people. People have performed, people have delivered for you, reward them handsomely. Speak up for them, defend them. Also, give feedback to people when required. And I think much more important, not just the feedback, but how you give the feedback as well. Thank you, Beda.
Thank you so much, sir. So even for me that I'm not even a leader anyway, I've gained so much from the amazing response Mr. Olusheye gave us. So be open to feedback, create meetings with your team to iterate on progress and other things you have shared back with us. So I'm moving on to the last question for this presentation chat because time is no longer by our side. I need to start wrapping up. So my question is more of like a word of advice for young people or people still finding their paths, especially in this industry. So we know that the the current industry is volatile, and there's a global shift now towards cleaner energy, sustainable energy system, and so many other things. So what key advice will you offer young professionals who still aspire to build long-term, like very, very long-term career and meaningful careers also in this evolving sector?
Thank you once again, Ubedia. I spoke earlier this year at Covenant University, and I think something I left with them, I think is relevant, and I think you asked a question related to that at the beginning of today's session. Is coach, sponsors, mentors. Pay attention to those three things. These are principles that won't change no matter what is happening in the industry. Yes, I think the industry is moving, transitioning from oil and gas to cleaner energy. But of course, we still have gas as a transition source of energy that leads us into that totally clean energy in the future. But the principles remain the same to thrive in the industry. You need coach, you need sponsors, you need mentors. I think we've spoken about mentors earlier. What's the difference between a coach, a sponsor, and a mentor? If we use football as an analog for those that are interested in soccer, you know who a coach is. A coach is giving structure, to an individual to become the best version of themselves. Whether you are a striker, whether you are a goalkeeper, sometimes a goalkeeper has his own coach. So we often see we see the overall coach for the team, but also various individuals performing in certain roles. They have their own special coach. The goalkeeper has his coach, but that coach is just trying to give structure. Tells the player uh, the strict diet that you need to observe, to be in top shape. That's who a coach is. A mentor is slightly different. We spoke earlier about the mentor. A mentor is sharing advice that they have learned through experience. And like we said earlier, your peer can be your mentor just because they've experienced certain things that you have not experienced before. You better learn from them. So you go to them for advice. What do I do in this kind of situation? And it's totally different from a sponsor. A sponsor is that person who is in certain places that you are not opportune to be, and who can speak to you, when the need arises, whether they're looking for someone to do a certain job, to do a certain role. Somebody has to drop your name. Yeah, this guy, I know him, he can perform. you know um, um, Sometimes even in a promotion panel, somebody has to speak. So we all need coaches, we need mentors, we need sponsors as well. Sometimes you might be lucky, your sponsor is the same as your coach, is the same as your mentor, but oftentimes there are three different people. I mean, you can imagine the sponsor is probably an executive who appears in certain places where you cannot even dream of yet. The person may be 3 levels ahead of you. But that speaks to your being visible. In as much as you perform, make sure that your work is also visible. I think maybe for us younger generation, we probably know how to do this well. So we shouldn't lose sight of that. Make sure you do a work, do it excellently well, but also make sure that your job is visible. Those are the things that will take you from current level to where you aspire to be in the future. And it's one day at a time, it's one step at a time. Of course, early in your career, I think you should focus less on sponsors. You should focus more on coaches and mentors. You're bearing yourself in your work. You're delivering. You're knowing your stuff, knowing your onions. You're getting yourself, to that skill level in what you do. And of course, later you would need sponsors, but I think you should prioritize that in your career. That the focus is your coaches and your mentors. But to get to the very, very, very top, recognize that we all need sponsors. And for many of us, where we are today, it's the fact that every opportunity that came our way, we didn't take them lightly. We took them seriously. We focused on impact. We made a difference, and luckily somebody recognized. That person became your sponsor. Um, um, you also recognize that this person is my sponsor. You go to them every now and then just to share with them what you're doing, so that they are aware, they know your capabilities, and when the opportunities come, they can speak up for you. Thank you very much. It's been a lovely time. Thanks for inviting me, the YP of Society of Petroleum Engineers. And I've enjoyed this conversation, Veda. You've made it easy for me. Thanks, Uju, for inviting me. I've enjoyed myself, and hopefully this has impacted a few people. You have a few nuggets that you can use to navigate your career. See you at the top. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for the wonderful session. Thank you so much for impacting knowledge, for sharing your story, for giving us insight on what that helped you to navigate your career from the early stage now to being a leader. I liked a lot. I've been writing since morning, and I can say I'm eager to inculcate all this knowledge that I've gained today into my own career also. So now we'll be moving on to the Q&A session. I think we'll take just 2 questions so that we can wrap up as soon. So if you have any other questions for Mr. Olushe that you'd like to ask him, can you please use the comment box and I'll read it out to him. Do we have any question for our speaker for today?
Yeah, Obadia, sorry, they can use unmute to speak now. I've enabled everyone
Okay.
to
You
unmute.
can also unmute yourself if you have any question. Any question? I think we'll wait for 1 more minute, and if there is no question, we'll move on to the next.
Good afternoon.
All right. Someone else. Hi, good afternoon.
Oh, good afternoon. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, all right, thank you. My name is Ikimizi Pascal. I'm a graduate of Technology from University of Benin. Thank you so much, sir, for this session and for your advice and all of that. I really gained a lot. I have just one question, sir. When you were actually talking, you made mentions of you had opportunities, and now my mind I was like, wow, opportunities just a flow like water. Stuff like that. So, but basically, I wanted to ask if this opportunity that you're getting, basically, like, are there things that you actually did to actually give you an edge for opportunities to come your way? Like, or what should we look at after? Like, for like, should we basically maybe go learn something or do this or do that for the opportunities to come? Like, basically, what actually brought these opportunities your way? So that's the question. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Pascal. Fantastic question. I'll keep it very simple. Opportunity begets opportunity. I'm a believer in the fact that God loves all of us. And at one time or the other, you would have at least one opportunity. We need to be prepared for that opportunity. When that opportunity comes, don't take it lightly, because that's the opportunity that will give birth to the next opportunity, whether in the short term, in the medium term, or the long term. I give an example. So I worked for, I won't mention names, so my GM, before I went to Brunei. But I worked hard. I delivered. Um, I had the opportunity to do a certain job. That job changed the story for the whole company. It had so much impact on the scorecard for the company for that year. Of course, I'm a production technology, so we hit the bottom line. The bottom line is production, so you carry out an activity. It made so much impact. And we were faced with several challenges, deliver that job. But, some jobs that is what defines your career for the rest of your life. You know that this was the change that set you up nicely on your way to the top. Because of that singular job, when the opportunity for cross-posting came, my name showed up easily. When I went away on cross-posting, when I came back, and of course there was heavy competition, and but because of what I'd done in the past, that woman, and now I'm giving tips, refused to, she said, she was going to leave the company, but he said, Chair, I must take care of you before I leave, and so she was on the lookout for me. She was my GM, but she was on the lookout for me. And when I said I wanted to leave Shell as well, she was the one saying, oh, what do you want to do next? Where do you want to go? And, guiding and pointing, so those are new opportunities that came. But I'll tell you, if I look back, those other opportunities came because of the previous opportunity I had, and I did not take it lightly. I worked hard on it and I delivered it. So what I would say is, please, any opportunity you have, may be simple, don't treat it lightly. Give it the whole of your heart. Somebody is watching, and that opportunity is going to give birth to another opportunity, whether in the short term or in the medium term or in the long term. Somebody will remember. That's let's keep it that way. I hope that helped.
I hope that answered your
Yes, sir.
question.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much, sir. I really do appreciate it.
Direction.
Thank you.
So prepare yourself and opportunity to come. So I'll take one more question, I think, from a female this time. I can see Miss Kudirat Belamosi hands up. I don't know if you can mute and ask a question.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Mr. Olushe. Okay, yes. You said that you were posted to Kaduna for NYSC, and after your NYSC, you were retained, but you take the offer. Then you went to Port Harcourt for job hunting. So I want to ask, if one is working in an industry that is not related to this energy industry that one is interested in, will you advise the person to still retain the job pending the time this person is able to get job in an energy company, or the person should just be focused so that he or she won't lose his or her spark for the energy industry? Thank you.
Thank you. Very tough question, because those may be life-defining decisions that you need to make. So I speak for myself. I'm not saying this is what you must do. So I'm only speaking from experience, what has worked for me. So we need to be careful, because your exact circumstances may not necessarily be the circumstances I was in back then. So that's critical for us. Let me lay that as a foundation. However, in life, as a young person, do not be afraid of failure. Learn to fail forward and learn to fail quickly if you must fail. Because the only time that you fail and you won't feel the impact that much is when you're young. There are fewer options as you begin to grow, where you feel you can't afford failure. Again, it becomes more difficult to take certain risks. But as a young person, I'm telling you, the easiest time to take risks, and so let me stop using the word failure, so as not to scare people. The easiest time to take risks is early in your career. And if I look back, many of those decisions I made in the past is what propelled me to where I am today. Leaving Kaduna, even though I had an offer, but I just sat down, thought about what I wanted, who I am, what I want to be, what's my long-term plan. It did not align. Whatever it is that was going on in Kaduna, it was just Nigeria that sent me to Kaduna. I didn't send myself to Kaduna. I knew where I wanted to be. After service year, I actually first came to Lagos. I was living with my brother, but I also told myself, this is not, they were offering me bank jobs. It was, well, I didn't have an offer yet, but those were the leanings. I was an engineer, but then they were looking for a bank job for me. But I said, I'm not a banker. I don't want to do a bank job. I'm an engineer. I trained to be an engineer. This is where I want to be. Let me tell a quick story, very funny story. How I decided to become an engineer, and you forgive me for this. Let's just be authentic and honest. I think I was probably 6 or 7 then, and my parents are civil servants, working in the university, and then there was a family event, and there was this man that was spending money, spraying money on everybody. I had to go and ask, who is this man? He told me his name. What does he do? He says he's an engineer. Since that day, I said I want to be an engineer. Of course, that's as a young person. Of course, over time, I grew. So in engineering, not just because of the fanfare and the money that may come, but rather because I wanted to solve problems and provide solutions. So, but you have to be focused on what you want to do, what you want to be, the industry where you want to work, the kinds of problems you want to solve. And some things would have to give way. You have to sacrifice them for what you want to do. And so let's start with what we want. Let's also recognize teaching assistant in school. So I was being paid a stipend, but it was still a sacrifice. So sometimes let's just be ready. We must sacrifice for what we really want. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Oluseye, and I hope that answered your question, Ms. Kudira. So
Yes.
thank you. You need to be able to make sacrifice and be courageous, especially as a young person. Thank you so much, Mr. Oluseye. This has been like a really insightful and a wonderful one. So I'll be moving on to like share some of the upcoming events we are having in SPE. So there will be an executive mentorship program that will be kicking off this same month up to April 2026. And I don't know if there's I think there should be registration for it. So if you're interested, you could reach out to the chair to go in. Also, we have our Lagos technical meeting, our monthly technical meeting that will be coming up next week, Friday at Capital Club always. So if you're available, you should also try to attend this also. And is season of hope and impact. And if you want to make a difference, you can also donate to SPE Lagos section so we can give it to the in slum and also provide feeding and others for them. So I'll be having our closing remarks. Today has been Miss Alicia Zinwane. Hi, Miss Alicia, are you there?
Yeah, she's not here. So I'm going to be handing over to the white. He's currently on the call shortly, but before that, I just want to say that this is such a great session. Honestly, my jotter is full, and I believe I'm not picked up so much today, and has been one of those conversations and sessions that we in even long after this call for days. You keep thinking about what Mr. Shaye said and how it's going to impact your decisions going forward. And thank you so much, Mr. Olusheye Ogisho, for sharing your story with so much honesty. It's not every day that we get to hear a real journey like this. And behind all the achievements that we admire, we get to see, how you got to where you are and the decisions and, some of the choices that, got you to this stage. And you mentioned something about courage. And it's important that, one thing I took from it is taking risk or failing forward, being courageous to do so, and something I'm going to take away from this. And thank you so much to everyone that joined and that stayed till this very time. I thank you so much. I hope you're walking away with something that would help you going forward and give you a clearer sense of direction. And just to mention, this is a series. So we have one other coming up next week. I look forward to seeing all of you on the next edition of the Energy Story series. We'll be having the MD CEO of Cefa Energy, Mrs. Sandra so she's going to be joining us. And just like you heard from Mr. Shaya today, you'd also be hearing from her. So at this point, I'll hand over to the YP chair for SP Lagos session to give the closing remark. Thank you so much, Ubaida, for the amazing session today. Over to you, Kola.
Okay, thank you so much. Mr. Chair, thank you so much for such a wonderful time. Even though I joined a little bit late, but the few minutes I joined, I was able to get a lot of points, and I think they are very germane to success in this industry. Especially the fact that you made mention of how to take risk early. Personally, I've come to understand that when you don't take risk, you are meant to be on the same spot as far as your career is concerned. So those are very powerful words, and I believe that every one of us have learned something today. So on behalf of legal section YPs, I want to say thank you so much, sir, for honoring our invitation. We are going to be calling on you some other time for some of our other programs, and we believe that you will always give us a positive response. Once again, thank you so much. And for everybody that joined the meeting, the section, just as Joe has said, we have a couple of other events coming up. Please let's avail ourselves. These are events that, when you keep to the things that have been said, they can prepare you to your next level. They can make you advance faster in your career. So I want to say thank you to our moderator. Thank you for such an amazing delivery. Thank you so much, and I hope that we have a wonderful weekend. Thank you, everyone. Bye for now.
Thank you, everyone. So let's have a quick photo session and we'll wrap this up. So I don't know if we can turn our camera and take a quick selfie then. Okay. I guess people are not up. Can we turn our camera for a quick photo session? Hi, Michael, Wisdom, Israel. Hi, Ayomiko, Handsome, Favor, Emmanuel, Precious. Hi, please turn your camera on for a quick photo. Hi, Israel. Hi, Bolanle. Hi, Precious. Hi, Daniela. Hi, Pascal. I guess we'll take our photo now. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. And thank you once again, Mr. Shea, and have an amazing weekend. Bye.
Bye.